Hi, making a depression video. So, for anyone who is not interested in depression and negativity, turn it off. I just watched earlier on YouTube, I watched a documentary film on Belgium's euthanasia practices, and they are extremely progressive. They're the most progressive in the world. And anyone who criticizes them is regressive. So sorry to say it, but that's a fact. So here, where we are, there are two states that have euthanasia law finally, but only for people who are terminally ill, and it has to be proven by a doctor, and they have to have no longer than 6 months to live, and so 6 months with agonizing pain and all of this. And they have to be, and that's the worst part, they have to be of sound mental health. And what that translates is they cannot be depressed. So anyone, according to them, who has depression is not of sound mental clarity. And I find that highly questionable and unethical. So my view on this is that I agree 100% with that Dr. Diestelman, or whatever his name is. I couldn't remember. It's a Belgian name. That of that real progressive physician whose activism is to first of all create these very futuristic euthanasia laws with his activism, and he had the whole country behind him on that, which is amazing. And and for implementing that and the way it is practiced and everything, they have a drink that tastes really good, that is about a cup full of like a syrupy type of liquid, and in that is the euthanasia drug, and I believe it is probably nembutal, I am not sure, and that is given to the client, and the client holds that in her or his hand and drinks it slowly drinks it down, the whole glass. And it doesn't come right away. The heart still beats for about 5 more minutes, but they become drowsy, they lean back, and they gradually fall asleep and don't wake up anymore. And they showed the process with this one lady, 85 or 86-year-old lady from Belgium, and she had been living in extreme grief over her daughter who died, and the daughter had some real serious illness or something and died just 3 months before she got admitted to that hospital. And she said she just could not continue to live like this. And her life was over anyway because she was 86. Why drag it out, you know? Why drag this when she walks with a walker and real slowly and barely move? I gave this film a thumbs up, even though it was meant in a critical way, in a way of, wait a minute, let's look at it more closely. Is this really ethical? From some Australian journalist who must be obviously Christian or religious. So, but I still respect the way he interviewed these people. He wasn't pushy about it, and he wasn't aggressive, and he wasn't confrontational. So he let these people talk, and the interview was decent and it was reasonable. So that's why I gave this film a thumbs up. Also to really bring much better insight into this whole situation. And it really showed the people in their kindness, in their compassion, in a wonderful, wonderful clinical situation where in Belgium every physician has the right to perform this procedure with that same method. And they have to always, every day, ask the client, are you sure you want to continue with this? And it takes, I don't know, I guess it takes a couple of weeks or so until they get that final appointment. And every day they check on them, say, are you sure you want to proceed with this? And they also, I'm sure they go through psychological screening, and in the very beginning they have to tell their story.
You want me to make you a watermelon smoothie, or
yeah,
you just want it cut up in squares?
You can make a smoothie if you want to.
In squares?
No, smoothie?
Or watermelon smoothie?
Yeah, maybe later. I'm making a video right now.
Okay.
But thank you. It's very nice of Paul too. Paul is my nurse, by the way. No, he's my husband, but we're not in that type of relationship anymore. So he's my nurse now, unofficially, he has transitioned from husband to nurse in a monastery type of setting with celibacy for the last 8 years, and very little touch, very, very little physical touch. The internet is a predominant occupier for both of us, I guess. For me, not so much anymore. I'm focusing on my art now, but I understand why Paul is in front of the videos and tries to distract himself. And he also knows that the inevitable is going to come at some point. It's not such a pleasant thought, particularly if he's going to be alone at some point and doesn't have any family members. And I feel terribly sorry for him. But eventually, I'm not right now, but, in the future. I don't know when in the future it could be. The near future could be farther away. But at some point, I am not going to say it. At some point, and I have, everyone has the right to make decisions over their own lives. Everyone has the right to do it. Every single person has the right to make their final decisions when it comes to their own bodies. That's the ethical thing to do, and particularly to help people with hospice work, to help people psychologically and support people with whatever their decision is. Not argue with them, and certainly not preach religion to them. That's the coldest thing in the world, to preach religion to someone who's already suffering. That happened to me once in southern Germany in a Catholic hospital. Oh boy, that was a nightmare. I should have never moved there, to that area. It was a mistake. I made a lot of mistakes in my life out of ignorance. I think if someone ever dared to do this to me again, coming up to me with a religion, I think I'm going to fly off the handle. I think I'm gonna yell at them. They better not come at me with that. That's the coldest thing in the world, to preach religion to someone who is suffering. If you want to help someone who is suffering, support them with whatever they decide. It's not for anyone else to make decisions over another living being. And when we're tuned in to our animals, then they will speak to us telepathically. They will speak with body language. They will express it to us, what they want. I always did that. I listened to them very carefully, to their expressions and everything. And I always knew. I actually had a telepathic dialogue with Kenny the night before we had to put him to sleep. He could barely walk anymore. It was a nightmare. He could barely stand up. And we dragged it out way too long because we clung to him. But the night before, I was sitting with him on the couch, and he made that very clear to me, just mentally, a mental exchange. He said, you know, tomorrow is the day. And I said, I know, I'm not going to let you suffer anymore. That grief over Kenny is the worst grief I've ever experienced. And I still experience it. If it wasn't for Papa Dog, I would not be here anymore right now. He's the one who made me pull through. I'm suffering, and I have a real severe depression right now. Worse than ever before in my life. And I make this video so I have some kind of ventile, some kind of outlet to talk about it. People should have the right to make that decision no matter what is going on in their lives, no matter what. If they are determined about this, if they say, I can't stand it anymore, I can't stand it one more day, then other people need to respect that, and they need to listen to them, and they need to help them with that. They need to assist them with that. That is very, very important, no matter what. Whether it's depression or terminal illness or a pain that seems incurable, whatever it is not acceptable to let someone suffer, animal or human. It's not acceptable. And I see that facing the legal system, there is not going to be a chance for me in the world to ever get some permit like this. I will not get assistance and help. I'm going to be on my own. But you know what? I'm going to make it through that too. I have experimented already. So I know which road not to get into, and I know which venues are holding a probability for this. And no one can stop me. Nobody. The Christians that hate me, that wish me death, they should be glad. But wait, then they're gonna come after me for even expressing something like this. It's a contradiction, right? They want me dead, but then if I am expressing those kind of things, suddenly they're gonna get real mad. If you want me dead, why would you get mad? It's a total contradiction. Which religion is? Religion is all about the ego and all about contradiction, and there is nothing about sanity and nothing about rationality in it. And our legal system is based on that. Our legal systems worldwide are based on total irrationality. That is the fact. Smells good. It smells like peach. I can't reach these people. They live, they're locked up in terror. They have been terrorized with their religion, and it's been internalized like a tattoo into their brain. But my message goes out to anyone who is still fresh and still has some reason. My message to you is love and compassion must come into the world. And that means we have to support people with their decisions.
And watermelon oil.
Okay, thank you. As long as the decisions are not hurting anyone. And we need to outlaw hunting. We need to outlaw the cruel rhesus monkey tests. We need to outlaw all animal testing. We need to outlaw factory farming. We need to outlaw whale hunting and dolphin butchering and baby seal clubbing. All of this needs to be outlawed. All of these atrocities, the hoarding up of wild horses and putting them into tiny confinements where they jump in the air and jump and trample on each other in panic. All of this exploitation has to come to an end. Help me, help the animals to make this come to an end. That is my appeal to the world. End suffering. Let's end suffering. No more suffering. That's my appeal to everyone who has reason and sanity and kindness and compassion in their brains. And we need artificial general intelligence. We desperately need it because the kind-hearted people are outnumbered with over 99% of others. This is a fact, okay? And with that reality, there is no way we can achieve peace and stopping suffering. No way. The corruption continues, the exploitation, all of this horror. I have a lot of hate in me, and rightly so. I have every right in the world to have hatred inside of me. It doesn't feel good. It's not my number one choice to feel that way. But I am forced to feel that way by 99% of humans. It's humans that are destroying this planet. It's humans that are causing hundreds of species to become extinct every day. And the rate of extinction is increasing. It's humans who are reducing the oxygen level in our atmosphere. By clear cutting, overfishing, sonar in the ocean, and pollution, spraying pesticides, causing the C word in animals and humans. They're destroying themselves, but they're so busy with their greed that they don't see it. Their greed always comes first, no matter what the consequences are. I don't want to live in a world like that. That is not my choice. Right now I live for my dog Dave. When I watched that documentary film, I felt such deep compassion. And I felt that lady 100%. I felt it. I felt every breath she took. I felt every emotion she felt. In the interviews, the conversations with her physician. I want the world to look at Belgium as a role model. We need physicians who care, who don't want people or anyone to suffer. Physicians who want to end suffering, to make that their priority, not money, not kickbacks, but make that their priority. End suffering. It is unacceptable for anyone to live with chronic pain, whether that is physical or emotional. It's unacceptable. No living being, no animal, no human should ever have to live like that. I have severe chest pain. I don't know what's going on. I called the clinic. Somehow they must have thrown my blood samples away. And I'm not going to let myself get bruised up again. I'm not going to do that. So I can't even rely on that. The incompetence is so humongous. I can't even rely on that at all. On any assistant or doctor or their diagnoses. So totally flawed and unreliable. Might just as well not even go there. Diagnose yourself. Treat yourself, Whole food vegan. Mainly raw, like 90% raw. Then you can't go wrong with that. Go for a walk in nature. Can't go wrong with that. Eat fresh fruits from the tree when the harvest time comes. Get touch, physical touch. Do yoga and meditation. Always love your animal. Pet and cuddle gently, gentle kissing with the animal. Non-sexually. Too bad one has to always add that, because the audience is so they are so hung up on that other thing. It's like a festering addiction or something. It's like it's etched into their brains. There is a life outside of sexuality. There's a life out there of health and kindness. And sexuality has its place. Just don't pour it into every level of life. Leave children, let children be children, and let animals be animals, and let them be happy and play. Don't sexualize everything. Don't hurt anyone. I guess I'm gonna turn it off now because the computer, the tablet is going to run out of battery. So better charge it up. Okay, you guys take care. Bye.